Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Break Into College. My guest today is Rhonda Copeland Lyle. I had her come back for part two of our last conversation because we had such great information to share. In this episode, you're going to find out about the second ask, and also you'll find out ways to get the education that you desire fully funded. Stick around, we've got a lot to talk about. Welcome, Rhonda. Thank you so much for joining me again. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me back because I got some good stuff for your folks today.
Listen, I know you do, and that is why I'm so excited to have you back. Last time we got into a lot of great conversation, and we really did tackle a lot for people. But now that they've got that, I want to do a part two of like a now what? Now that you've asked, everybody, for scholarships, now that you've asked the grocery store, all the places, all the things, what happens after you get it? Let's talk about that. Let's get into it. After you've gotten that yes from someone or from a college, say you've gotten a little bit of awarded money from a college, they want to give you $5,000. That's cool. That'll cover some books or whatever. What do you do after that? What's the next step?
Well, the next step is, first of all, once a college has made an offer to you, don't accept that first offer. Go back and ask for more.
Oh,
And the reason for this is they have students that they have offered money for that are not going to come to that college. So that money goes back into the pot after they've already made you an offer of $15,000 when the school costs $50,000. So go back and ask them for more because there's more money that's gone back into the pot for the students that are not going to come to that college because they're going someplace else. So you want to go back and ask for more. 9 times out of 10, the students that I've told to go and ask for more, they got more money.
Whoa.
And then
That blew my mind.
And in addition to that, the transfer students that are coming back, their money has gone back into the pot.
Ooh, so the pot got bigger than it initially was because they had students who left and left their money. So honestly, what you're saying is they want to give you $15,000. You think that's cool and you accept that school, but there are tons of people who did not. You go back and ask for more.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's one way to cover it. But after who exactly are you asking? You're talking to the financial aid people. Who are you talking to?
You're talking to the financial aid person and or the admissions person because the letter that you received came initially from your admissions officer. So whoever signed off on that letter, you want to reach out to them. You also want to reach out to the financial aid people. You also want to reach out to the head of the department in the subject matter area that you may be interested. So you're interested in STEM, then go to the department head of STEM. If you're interested in accounting, go to the department head for accounting. So those are the 3 primary people that you need to reach out to and introduce yourself. Send them a copy of your at least a 1-page resume and let them know that how excited you are about coming to their college and you've been offered, X amount of funding. You want to find out if there are any other opportunities for funding and more scholarship money. You got to ask. You'd be surprised how many yeses. You're not going to always go to yes, but you got to at least ask because without asking, you won't be getting anything 100%. You won't be getting anything additional.
So, asking it's a 50-50.
Absolutely.
But if you don't ask, it is a guaranteed 0. You're not getting one dime. So, and then once you get there and you've, met everybody or you sent an email to everybody, wouldn't you say it's a good idea to physically meet the people you've been talking to?
Oh, absolutely. They need to know who you are, especially in the financial aid office. You need to become their best friend. You go in with a smile and just say, well, I'm just coming in to inquire if there's any additional monies here. So don't become a stranger. So as soon as you hit that campus, you need to find out who that person is, where their office is. And now there will be times when some of them will not be so happy to see you all the time, but always go in with a smile and excitement about what you're doing and giving them updates. Oh, well, I got a great grade, my first paper. Just give them an update on what you're doing once you are on campus. Don't become a stranger to those people who can help you.
That's
that
good.
money.
And honestly, if they keep you in mind, if you stay top of their mind, if something else comes up, oh yeah, there was, Rhonda who came in here and she was looking for a little extra. This might not be much, but maybe she wants the extra 2 grand that we had laying around.
Absolutely, because they are getting in scholarships and they're getting in different types of money every day, all day long. And once they know who you are, they will start automatically either sending it out to you or when you come in, provide you with that information.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that idea. I like that a lot. So
And
here's the
it works.
I know it has to because you are the master of finding the money. Another thing that I think we talked about before, but we didn't get into it too much, is applying for everything, even things that you think you're not going to get.
Oh,
That doesn't make sense to me, but explain it.
okay. For example, a lot of students won't apply for the Gates Scholarship, which is a full 4-year ride. And then there's some other programs that are out there because it indicates that your family can't be making over a certain amount of money. And well, we don't meet that requirement. My parents make too much money. Apply for it anyway, because what can happen, that organization, once they contact you to say, sorry, we're not able to offer you this because you don't meet the requirements, ask them, do they have any other opportunities that you can qualify for, that qualifications
Ooh.
that you do meet? I've had that
Mm.
happen to my own children where we went back and said, well, we can't get the Gates because parents make too much money. But then they offered an additional 10,000 out of another pot that I didn't have any idea about. Again, you ask the question.
Mm. I think a lot of people get hung up just because, we don't want to ask or seem like we're begging. But
Hey,
honestly,
get
when
over
it
it.
comes to education, like you said, yeah, get over that and get
Get
to
over it.
asking these questions. Because if you never ask, of course, you're not going to know. There's tons of places that I learned from you that we could ask for financial help for college. And it's not like you start in junior year of high school. I think you told me it's better to start even before middle school.
Oh yeah, my daughter got her first she did a cotillion for the Deltas. And we spent $300 for her dress, her shoes, her hair, and then my niece did the same program. So we spent $300 and she got $3,000.
Wow.
She was 6 years old. My niece, same thing. She did the program when she was 7. She got $2,500. And we spent, again, just the cost that it takes to get, a nice cotillion
Mm.
dress and some beautiful shoes
Right.
and her hair done and that type of thing.
Huh. So
And so
yeah,
all
start
of
them
these
early.
organizations that are within your own community, participate in the things that they are offering, and always ask them, oh, do you offer scholarships?
Hmm.
You got to do your research, you got to do your homework, and you just got to ask the question.
Hmm.
That is like the biggest thing that I want to get across to these young students and these families. Ask for money. Don't be embarrassed by it. Everybody knows that college is so out of
Mhm.
reach for so many young people these days. It's
Right.
just unbelievably expensive. And you just got to ask. Go to the Rotary Club in your
Yeah.
neighborhood. If you don't know if there's a Rotary Club, Google it and find out. They're always giving out scholarships to young people.
Hmm. And even if you don't know what a Rotary Club is, go.
Exactly.
They still
Google
have
it.
scholarship money. Yeah, Google it. Google it. They still have scholarship money and you still need it. We
Exactly.
talked a little bit about before, making sure that your children have resumes in our last interview
Mhm.
and making sure they have good things on the resume. One thing that we didn't really talk about that I want to bring up today is doing something that isn't so cookie cutter and that everybody isn't doing. Now, we all know that in this day and age, everybody is doing a sport, everybody's almost playing an instrument, or you're involved in some type of, art, but not a lot of people are doing fencing or, beekeeping and things like that. And those count too.
Exactly. The Fencing Association of America offers scholarship. Put your child in a fencing class. It's something different. It sets them
Mhm.
apart from what everybody else is doing. Do um, uh, polo,
Mhm.
swim, the
Mm.
types of things that they're not expecting us to do.
Right, right.
Expose your child to different things And because all of these activities, they offer scholarships that the average person that looks like us, they're not doing.
Right. 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 Especially if you're fencing and you're a
Exactly.
person of color. Or honestly, there's not too many people fencing, period. But if you're a person of color and you're fencing, it's really going to stand out and it'll intrigue them about you. So yes, play your sports and do whatever it is you were doing in school, but try something that no one else is
Try
doing. You might
something
seem a little
new
crazy amongst your friends, but try something everybody else isn't doing.
and put that on the resume. They did a fencing camp. Put that on
Mhm.
their resume.
I
Um,
knew a young lady who golfed when she was younger all the time. I think she was probably 3 the first time I remember hearing of her golfing, and she did it all the way up until adulthood, even through high school, and was really doing it. And she had Caribbean parents, really doing very well in golfing. And then she pivoted and became a female football player.
okay.
So that was also something that just kind of made her stand out a little bit
Made
like, oh
her
my God,
stand
she
out.
started off golfing and now
Exactly.
she's in football. You have to do something that's going to set you apart from everybody else. This isn't where
Ex-
you go with the flow. This is where you deviate
Absolutely.
and make your own path.
Yeah. And they have golf camps all across the country, wherever it
Mhm.
is you're living. They have fencing app programs. Also, the other thing that I really like to push young people to do or learn, what the State Department refers to as critical languages, not Spanish and French and,
Mhm.
but Mandarin, the
Yeah.
Arabic language, Indonesian language, Hindu language, South Korean language. Those are what
Mhm.
the State Department wants more American students to study, those what they refer to as critical languages. And then they offer scholarships. I have students that have traveled abroad during the summer on a full ride for 6 weeks in high school, including my
Mm.
daughter, including my niece and some other students. And they offer it for high school students from the age of 15 through 18. They also offer it once you're in college. It's fully funded for college. It's fully funded.
That's the thing. Fully funded. That's
Fully
what we
funded.
want.
And
Fully
your
funded.
child is traveling abroad and again, getting an experience where the average student are not getting those types of experience when they're 15 years old or 16 years old.
Hmm. That made me think in a different way. Of course, high school wants to push French, Spanish, but to really be useful to America, you
Mhm.
will need to know Mandarin. We do a lot of dealings with China. It would be helpful to know Russian, little German, other languages where we have army bases. Because honestly, almost anybody can pick out Spanish. But if you have a language that is from a place where we are stationed, that's
Exactly.
top tier right there. They really
Exactly.
want those
And,
kind of
and, and
students.
Russian is one of the other languages that's a critical languages because when the foreign
Mhm.
exchange students come to our country, they are already speaking 3 and 4 languages that they started in elementary school.
Yeah. Let's put a pin and a pivot right there. The best time to teach your child a new language is pre-K or before pre-K.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My kids started learning Mandarin when they were like 11 years old. And we
Mhm.
found a weekend program. And I don't know if I mentioned this during my last segment, part one, but we were going to host a Chinese exchange student, and my
Mhm.
daughter wanted to learn Mandarin. So I made an
Mm.
appointment with the head of the department at Georgetown University, and I took my daughter in to meet her, and she was excited to know that a young person. So we go in there. She certainly didn't know that we looked the way we looked when we walked in there, but
Right.
she was excited that my daughter was interested in learning. And then she told me about a Sunday program that my daughter could participate in. And after church for 12 weeks, my daughter would go to this, and it was for children. And she was the oldest
Mm.
child at 11 in the class. There were kids in there that were 5 years old learning
See?
Mandarin.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the cost was for 12 weeks, maybe $250.
Mhm. And if you think about it, that 250 set her apart later on and got her loads in scholarship money. And that's what
Absolutely.
we want. Parents, if you're watching this and you have a young child now, 11's a little old, you might want to start them out around 3, learning something else. when I was teaching, I had a little girl in my class who her parents spoke only Spanish at home. She knew which one of us adults to speak Spanish to, and she was 2.5. And that just taught me, if that's all she knows is the switch when she's talking to her people, her mom and her dad, or to me, then that means she's aware enough to know I only speak this language, mommy and daddy only speak that one. And I got to thinking, if we're waiting till high school to
It's
teach,
too
or,
late.
or
It's too
junior
late.
high to teach languages, it's very, very late.
It's too
The
late.
best time to do it is pretty much out the womb.
Right. Because our kids here in the US, we need to be able to compete on a global market. The students that are in all these other countries that come to the United States, they're far ahead of us. They're far with the languages, with what they're studying in the classroom when they
Mm-hmm.
go to our schools here, because they can come here for a 10-month and go to a high school across the
Mm-hmm.
country. They're all over the country here for 10 months going to the high schools here. And then we also send American students to go for a school year or summer. So,
Right.
most families don't feel comfortable sending their kids abroad for a school year. But for 6 weeks for, 15 through 18-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
or for the college kid, they can go for 8 weeks and study another critical language that's fully funded by our State Department. And I know you hear lots of things that are going on in
Mm-hmm.
the news about how everything's cutting back. That's not being cut back. It's not
Okay.
being cut back.
I'm glad you said that. And I knew that the foreign exchange students came over and knew way more than we did. I just was not aware of how much more they knew. And it's because, different countries have a different time frame of when they start teaching things.
Absolutely.
I have friends from Palestine and from Jerusalem, and they've always said, yeah, we started learning English from day one because we're expected to know it, and it just helps us to be able to communicate with other people. And I was like, ooh, and we are not taught that. And this is in their public schools. They are taught from pretty much day one, first day of school, a different language. And I'm like, we are so far
So
behind
far
with that.
behind. And one of my exchange students was from the Gaza Strip when
Mm.
he came over here. He was 16 years old at the time. He's now 27.
Hmm. And he probably spoke good enough English and
Oh,
understood
oh no, no.
everything.
First of all, they have to have exceptional English. Exceptional. They're tested before they get here. So, and
Oh.
these are for the State Department, federal
Hmm.
government funded. All foreign exchange programs are not equal. They have some private programs that are out there.
Hmm.
You're not sure what you're going to get. For the
Okay.
State Department program, these are merit scholars that are competing for these scholarships to come to the United States. And then the American students are competing to go to these foreign countries as well during the summer and or during a school year. And all of
Hmm.
them is fully funded.
Hmm. So that's one of the best ways to make sure you stand out, is to take a language that is not the cookie cutter
Not the
Spanish or
typical.
French.
Exactly.
Definitely taking something that is a critical language. And we also talked about, taking a sport or some other type of activity that's not the usual, the normal. But I think that
Absolutely.
there has to be more to getting into college than just the typical routes that we know about.
Mhm.
Would you say all college routes are the same, or is there a more non-conventional way to get there?
Oh God, there's so many non-conventional ways to get there. One of the things that a lot of kids are doing, they're doing the dual enrollment. So by the time they graduate from high school, they have their associate's degree. However,
Mm.
I like to caution the young people with that. They have to make sure that when they're doing the dual enrollment, that they're applying for colleges that will accept all of those credits. Not all
Oh.
colleges will accept those those credits. So some kids are able, because they have the 2 years and they think that they can go into the college and be a junior. Well, that is good for the colleges that accept that. All colleges don't accept that, but that's one way that they can do. The other thing that they can do is they can do a portfolio where they are documenting their experiences. So, for example, if you get into one of these programs and you go abroad for the summer, on the State Department program for the 6 weeks to study these, you would get credit. You would document that. any certificates that you've completed, you would get credit for that. And some colleges will give you anywhere from 10 credits all the way up to 60 college credits just by a portfolio of the experiences that you've had. And obviously you go through a college that offers the portfolio and you have to follow whatever their, requirements are. But that's another way. Another way that you can do it is take an exam, the CLEP exam, which that's the college level exam program. You can pay. The last time I checked, I believe it was like $125 and take an exam in a variety of different subjects. And if you pass, you get 3 college credits for $125.
Wow.
So that's another way to get. And again, you can take those and transfer those into whatever college that you're interested in. But for the portfolio, again, you have to go through that college and make sure that they will accept that. And you have to put it in whatever format that they're required for, and all that information. You get on their website, you call them up and you ask these questions before you decide to accept, the offers that you're given, especially if you're doing dual enrollment, if you've done the CLEP and or the portfolio. But that's another quick way to get college credits very quickly.
Because it would have to be heartbreaking to really get to a college that you think you want, you accept their offer, and then you find out your credits don't transfer over. That is
happening to a lot of students because they don't know that they have to make sure that the college that they decide to go to will accept those credits.
Wow. This has been mind-blowing and so you are full of information. And I just want to say, if you have not thought about putting out book number 2, get busy on book number 2 because we need it. We need it. Refresh everyone's memory again, the title and where to find book 1.
Okay. My book 1 is Warrior Mom. And the subject is how I fought to get a great education and scholarships for my children and others. $10 million won. You can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on Barnes & Noble online as well.
And her name is Rhonda Copeland Lyle. You got to be careful of the name because Warrior Mom, everybody got a story about Warrior Mom. But no, this is the book you need.
Titled Warrior Mom out there.
But they don't have this kind of information. This is what you need to get your kids into college with minimum debt. We need everybody else's money. And all you have to do is ask. I think that's the pivotal part of today's interview was reminding people to ask and ask again.
And ask again. And don't be afraid to ask. Don't be embarrassed to ask. Just ask. You're not going to get anything unless you ask.
Well,
there you go.
That's 100% true. You're not going to get anything if you don't ask. Start as early as you possibly can and ask every single business, every entity, every group that you can. You never know. When I found out the last time we had this conversation that grocery stores had scholarships, I was floored.
They have foundations. They offer your bank has a foundation. Your credit union has a foundation. I got an email from Frank's Hot Sauce. They offer scholarships. And all you have to do is write an essay about why you like their hot sauce.
Now this is easy out here. This is so
and you know easy. What I tell families is go into your pantry, look at the things that you buy. Skippy, the people who make Skippy give scholarships. Your cereal, what is it? Kellogg's, they give scholarships. Coca-Cola gives scholarship. Pepsi gives scholarship. Go and look in your refrigerator and your pantry. Whoever has made that product, 9 times out of 10, they offer scholarships. Go out on their website, find out who you need to contact. Usually you can go to the communication people. If they have an outreach person or a marketing person, you can start with them. But if there is an email address, send them a nice short little note. And in your subject, you got to tell them immediately what you're looking for. And you identify yourself as exceptional student looking for scholarships. That's in the subject line. You got to get that hook. They got to pay attention to that. And you need to be able to ask for what you want in the first 3 sentences. The
You just
money
gave
is
the
out
cheat
there.
code. You just gave the cheat code on how to find it. And I feel like this might be covered in the second book, but
The
we
second
got it
book.
first. We got
Yes.
it first. I'm going to have you back again. Thank you so much, Rhonda,
Thank
for
you so
being
much
our
for
guest
having
again
me.
today. I've appreciated this conversation. And I'm not even going to school, but I know people who are. So I've got to share this information. I can't thank you enough for sharing everything that you know with all of our viewers and listeners. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure again, and I can't wait until we do this again.
Yeah, we definitely will.
So if you are interested in working with us and learning more about how we can help your teen or your program of students get through the college application process, you can always visit us at barrier-breakers.org, or more specifically, you can visit us at college.barrier-breakers.org. Again, that's college.barrier-breakers.org. You'll be able to find all information about our services there. You can always send us an email at hello@barrier-breakers.org. And if you are interested in supporting the work that we do here as a nonprofit, you can always go to barrier-breakers.org/support. There you'll be able to see more about how to help us support more students, how to volunteer with us, or if you want to sponsor a student and help us as we expand our free access to low-income students, you'll be able to sponsor a student there as well. None of this would be possible without your support. So whether you are supporting our work or you're signing your student up to work with us, we are so looking forward to getting to know you.